Hello guys, I'm Jack Bigadoo and I'm known as the Hood Sommelier. If you here, thank you so much for being here supporting. To all the Patreon, thank you for always being part of the Hood. We appreciate every single thing you're doing. Today, from my accoutrement, you can see that I'm going to Texas. Hey doggy. Here on this channel, the truth is always barrel proof. Today we are traveling to one of those distilleries that if you know, you know. It's called Garrison Brothers. Right? It's kind of hard to say without sounding like a little, heavy. Garrison Brothers. Little story about the distillery. Dan Garrison and his family actually own that distillery. It is in Texas. I mentioned that previously. And they make good whiskey using almost everything around the area that they are. Local farmers, making sure they're sourcing and helping the economy of Texas, but also bringing jobs into that area. Today, though, I will be talking about the Guadalupe. So the Guadalupe actually is one of their special release. When you think of Texas whiskey kind of have its own personality. That's the best way I put it. The whiskey, I never seen somebody who say, it's okay. It's either you like it or you don't. And some people are fans of it or they just are not. But I think compared to the other brand like Balcones and other people out there that are kind of taking their own way, because of Texas weather, the whiskey grows really interestingly, right? Because fast heat. So if you think of maturation, most whiskeys that actually can mature in 8 years in Texas, you're probably going to cut it in half because the heat is so extreme. And at Garrison Brothers, they don't use any control heating, so they use natural heating. The Guadalupe that we're going to talk about today, beautiful brown, I would say gold browned bottle. Their Guadalupe is at 53.5% ABV. This is a 6-year-old whiskey. For a 6-year-old whiskey, they use for the first 4 years, they've aged this whiskey in regular white American oak, toasted white American oak, and then they spend 2 years, mind you, prepare yourself, in port barrels. So what I like to say is I've had Garrison Brothers, as their cowboy whiskey, most things that they release. It's solid, right? There's a certain consistency, but the Guadalupe for me, their honey and the Guadalupe for me are probably my most favorite. I love port wine. Now imagine this 4-year-old whiskey, which is a good year for it. It's finished for 2 more years in pure Portuguese cask, which is port cask that you're having. For me, it's probably going to taste delicious. I had the first release. This year is their second release of the Guadalupe, and I've always been curious on one thing: is why 2 years? Because if you look at this, you can barely see through the bottle. I'm gonna pour myself a little bit of it, and that's a nice pop, and we can have it for you guys to kind of know a little bit about it. The whiskey itself just is funky. I love the fact that it's funky. It has when you pour it, you get immediately almost like that tannic port funkiness around the room immediately. And at 53% ABV, we're talking 107. So Weller is 107. What else? A lot of whiskey are 107, but they don't have that funk, right? They don't have that funk to them. But because of port wine is quite expected, port itself had its personality. You get immediately on the nose tannic note, tannic sweet, as like figs around, like somebody just opened a bag of figs around you. That's the first thing you get. So beside figs, let me get on it on the nose. Let me talk about color here. Like I said, you can barely see through this thing. It's like, it's dark. And I mean, the whiskey himself, because of Texas, is dark. But this right here is dark, right? I've never described a whiskey as more like blood red or, you know, blood moon. But that's how I would look at it, is more blood moon style. That's really what it is. I can sleep in the nose because I'm a wine lover. I'm born from a French country. I love just beautiful nose on whiskey. Yeah, this port wine is legit. Tannic nose. I'm using my Garrison Brothers glass to taste, so I'm blowing in to actually see what I get. And it's chewy. You get that wheat from the whiskey that actually bring in. Just it's like, I describe it as chewy, but it's more like it's bready on the nose, like fresh yeast. All right, let's give it a taste. 107. I don't expect, you know, big burn. I don't expect anything major, but I expect it to have just a load of flavors because it's from Texas. So. Exactly what I said. Exactly. Just like I said, exactly like I said, you're looking at very, very, very tannic and juicy. It's like grabbing a big fig or big cherry, just like with those maraschino cherries, and just start chewing on it. It just explode. Quite tannic, going down. Front palate. Very sweet. Like perfectly sweet, perfectly bready on the front palate. You can still taste a little bit of youth in the whiskey because of the sharpness in the middle of the palate, but you're not getting too much of that. It stays like if you had a glass of wine and it stays in the mid palate. That's exactly where it's at. So it's just one of those things that it gets you coming back to it, though. You just come back to it. Like, I want to have another taste just to keep that sweet red fruit, red grapes just in my mouth so it doesn't go away. Wow. Okay. The finish, very, very, very tannic. Very tannic finish. Very, very tannic finish. But overall, is a solid whiskey. Overall, it's quite a solid whiskey. I don't hate it at all. Good, solid whiskey. I'll probably give it an 8 out of 10. And definitely something I want to try to see what it tastes like in an old fashioned, or something I'll pair with a cigar to really see what that would take me, because it's so juicy and just stays in your mouth. I wonder what a little bit of smoke would do to it, or what, other flavors would bring to it. I don't want to add any water because I just like the structure of it. Let me know what you think. Have you had any Garrison Brothers before? Have you tried any other expression? The honey, the cowboy, the Guadalupe, or even the there's the blue one. I forget the name. If you had it before, let me know what you think. Put it in a comment. And as always, thank you for being here. We appreciate you. And if you have any comment or you want to support the channel, we'd love to have you as part of our community. And we'll see you next time.